Ladies, what if I told you that once you get to a certain point, when it comes to a lack of attraction, it's like the event horizon. I think that's what it is. There's no way coming back. This is a true concept in attraction. This is a true concept when it comes to dating, and I'm going to give you the ins and outs, the characteristics of what it looks like when you're at a point that you cannot return from. So, there's this rule, and I've heard this rule. I don't know how accurate it was back then, but I heard this rule back in 2016, 17 when I was listening to another dating coach talk about it, and he said that he heard it from somebody that 51%, right? So if you take the attraction from 1 to 100 and you're dropping out of the hundreds, you're dropping out of the 90s, 80s, 70s, 60s, 50s, you're at the low 50s. At 51%, there is nothing you can do to build the attraction and come back out of it. So you're probably wanting to know, well, what does that look like? What does it look like, homie? Because my guy's pulling some BS right now. My guy's not the way he was last month or last week. I need to know what's up. So it's never just one thing. I guess the first rule is it's never just one thing. It's these things layering, number one, and two, it's how consistent it is. That's more of a vibe. That's more of a personal feeling. I cannot tell you that as accurate as you can yourself. You know, you have the intuition. You know in your gut, okay, he's been acting weird. He's been doing a lot of these things on these lists, and he's been doing it for a bit. And he's not wanting to change. So I feel like I'm here. I'm hovering around it. So the first one is a guy not progressing the relationship at all. Now, when I say this, there's a difference between a guy not progressing their relationship, but still entertaining the idea of it, meaning like you and him, calling, texting, whatever, but not progressing as in the bigger picture, you and I forever, more as like casual in the moment type of shit. But then there's another level where he is not progressing anything. The talking, he's not asking to see you. He's not asking your whereabouts, how you doing, not initiating, nothing. It is just at a hard standstill. That is a huge red flag. That is a huge red flag. That should tell you immediately he has no priority, or this relationship has no priority for his resources, time, energy, effort, money, things that are very valuable to him. And if he's not investing these to progress the relationship, he obviously doesn't see it long term. Now, I just named and rattled off a couple things, or a lot of things there, and I think a lot of these things are also what includes you being around the 51%. Like I said, they layer. So the first thing would be, the obvious would be no progression in terms of the relationship. And the longer that goes, obviously the worse that is. Then you will see a man who is not willing to see you, a man who is leaving you on red, a man who, not even hot and cold. When you're at 51%, you're not even getting the little bit of fucking scolds here and there. You're not getting the hot. It's a lot of the cold. It's a lot of you initiating. It's a lot of you you reaching out, but constantly being left on red. Sometimes the 51% gets to the point where he doesn't even want the benefits you offer, the sexual benefits, the physical benefits. Women will come to me at times and they'll be like, Elliot, why would a guy not want to hook up? Like, why would a guy not want to do this? And the reason for it is he just doesn't give a shit. He's at the point now where he doesn't give a F about the assets you offer. You're being left on red. You're not being asked to see each other. He doesn't initiate the text. Okay, he doesn't initiate dates or texts at all. It's that kind of stuff. That's how you know you're at the 51%. So, women, when they come to me and they hear, oh shit, I'm hovering around the 60s. Actually, I just heard this. I'm at the low 50s now. Elliot, I'm freaking out. What do I do? Well, let me tell you why you first cannot get out of the 51%, okay? Let me tell you why you can't get out of the 51%. Number one is the very realistic gap. Okay, going from 51 up to whatever, whatever you want, say 70s, to get a guy to initiate the text, to reach out, to want to be with you and all, that is a huge gap to make. You got to understand that is a huge gap to make. And it's not the fact that, I guess this can't be number one. I guess this is the prerequisite, because it's this reason why all the other reasons are, on why it doesn't work. Because once you see this big gap, the following things happen. Number one, the power dynamic is completely in his favor. If you're wanting it to work still, if you still want him in your life, if you still want him to see you, if you're still trying to make it work and you don't want to give up, the power is completely in his favor. I tell women all the time that when a guy courts you, or to keep this attraction alive, there has to be a currency involved. There has to be a back and forth. There has to be a cost. And you have to think of this as so let's say he's the gambling slot machine, okay? You have to, and you're hoping to get the jackpot. You have to keep on putting money in in this machine, pulling the lever and hoping to get something out of it. But at the end of the day, you don't realize you're not getting anything out of it, right? It's the gambler's dilemma. Like you're hoping doing this and doing that and doing all these things are going to get him to change his mind, but it just increases the gap anymore because he has such a strong power dynamic that he doesn't feel that he needs to change anything. You're not going anywhere. He doesn't even give a shit, and you're lowering your value, your respect, and all that even more by trying to keep this going along. It's almost like you see this gap and you're like, I can make this jump, right? But you can't. You want to do everything to believe you can make this leap, this jump, instead of hitting rock bottom, but you can. And you unfortunately do learn the hard way. The second reason is a lack of willingness, I tell women, on his end, a lack of willingness. So when a guy isn't making effort, when a guy isn't progressing things, when a guy is indecisive, well, sometimes he could be in his head, but a lot of the times I always say attraction is like currency. The more you have, the more you can do. You can make someone do a lot of things if they're really attracted to you. But when a guy's at a 51%, there's no willingness. I don't want to meet you halfway. I don't want to try to make it work. I don't want to communicate. In fact, it's a liability because I don't want you at all. You're at a 51%, and everything I'm trying up to this point is just taking time away, resources away that I can use for other women. So you have a lack of willingness in the situation, which leads me, unfortunately, to the third or fourth thing, depends on how you look at it, which is you have no negotiation power. What are you going to do? Play hard to get, leave him on red, pull away, do no contact? He doesn't give a shit. It's just going to go back to point 3 I just said. You're going to be more of a convenience because it's like, okay, she's stopping now. Finally, thank God. Now I can go talk to other women. Like, leave me alone. You have no negotiation power. So if you're anything like me, you want to prevent this. You want not only do you want to prevent it, so if you're going downhill right now and you want to fix it, you can. As long as you don't hit the 51% or close, you're not hovering in the 50s. If you're above that, there is a chance to make this work. That is why I created my guide. You can get that right here, just linked down in the description. This guide is all about maximizing attraction, getting a guy to see you as the perfect 10, to getting a guy to see you as this ideal woman that he's going to commit to. This guide helps you even if the guy is unsure, because you are going to understand male's dating psychology. You are going to understand after reading this guide what men want, what men look for, what men commit to, okay, and how to stick out of your competition. So if he's uncertain about you because he wants to see what else is out there, this guide is going to help you. It's going to do everything in its, I'm doing everything in my power to prevent you from getting to the 51% because I know how it is. It ain't fun. It absolutely sucks. So if you're interested in that, get the guide. Link is down below. And ladies, listen, if you're at the 51%, do not try to fight it. Do not try to do something that you're just digging yourself a bigger hole, okay? It can't work. You have to accept the fact that at 51%, you're going to be on this earth, but not together. Does it suck? Yes, but What sucks more is wasting all this time. You can either learn the hard way or you can learn the harder way. Okay, I'd rather you cut this off, or thank God if you watch this video before you're at the 51%, you can get the guide and you can solve the problem. Okay, so with that being said, ladies, I love you all. Take care, best of luck, and peace.